If this is the market update, this is the oh my God, is it over market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Don't know what to do? Confused? Need help? I'm here. Name of the game, as one guy I know says, it's about preserving mental capital as much as actual capital. Nobody knows what's happening here, and that's the problem. I'm going to help you sort it out. I'm going to help you. I'm going to suggest a shift away from things that may not come back anytime soon to perhaps starting a DCA process in things that will come back soon. Okay, first on the stream, we have Yappy is here, G, Crypto Steph, Bull Runner, Joe Mike, what's up? Art, Alex, Fernando, Aiken, Steve J, welcome. We have seen it all before. Now I am more bullish. I agree. The lower this goes, the harder it snaps back. There could be a snapback today. CryptoPath with the notorious love. I appreciate that. Forget About It is here. Art, Joe Mike, welcome. Bubba Smith, Daniel J, Seth, Alex, Fernando, Aiken, more problems ahead. Bailouts coming. That is also possible. Sheb encouraging everybody to hit the like button. Yes. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to the channel. Did a short video about BlackRock yesterday. It got 7,000 views. Unbelievable. All right. Okay. Patriot Caveman is here. Arm 303. SOS. Farmer Sam Forrest. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Malik is here. Raj. Okay. News. Let's go. Patriot Caveman. Rate cuts in July. Yeah, I mean, if crypto is telling you what it's telling you now, I don't know how they can avoid it. The question is, why would they cut rate cuts? And why would they do rate cuts at this point? And what is crypto warning about? I mean, it gets more bizarre every day. Okay, let's start out with, let's just get to the worst possible news. The worst possible news, live TA style, is that Ethereum has not gone down. Neither has Bitcoin. But the levels below the market via LuxAlgo is 3266 is one level in ETH. That would be pretty extreme. And a flash event would probably be 3120. I would imagine at those levels, the market would be a tactical buy, which could be a reason to move from things that aren't going to work and aren't going to come back to things that might. All right. Now, for anybody who's my age or has ever seen the movie, this apparently is the real Red October. Okay. It's a submarine. I'm not going to tell you whose submarine it is. However, I would not discount the idea of some sort of geopolitical issue being behind all this panic liquidation of speculative assets. Speaking of liquidation of speculative assets, we are now at $500 million in crypto liquidations. Okay, and Willy Woo has a tweet has been brought to my attention, keeping it like relatively simple. Willy Woo is suggesting that whales are selling Bitcoin, like long-time whales, right? And the crypto market may now be easier to move around with paper Bitcoin. In other words, short selling and doing things when you don't actually have to have the crypto is easier now than ever. So if you have massive liquidations, people may be using the derivatives market to force people out. Now, why would they do that? Well, I don't mind reminding you that since a former chief executive came out definitively pro-crypto, the market has been down only since that happened. Like, I'm just connecting dots. Okay. Now, let's see if I can talk about excessive speculation. Last night, a new coin was released in the PolitiFi sector. All right. This coin may be associated with this former chief executive. It probably isn't. It has a $200 million market cap. This is a related meme coin called Barron, which is like, son of this guy. Okay. This meme coin also spiked on this news. Now, I'm going to unshare screen and try to remember it while I give you a brief monologue about meme coins. Big meme coins are teetering on support where they could crack if they haven't cracked already. Okay. Celebrity meme coins, highly speculative meme coins that come out on rumors that may or may not be affiliated with famous people that could possibly hurt the reputation of those famous people. I've also got a news article in here that the general public's searching for AI, assuming for investment purposes, has reached some kind of peak. Somebody is leveraging ridiculous sentiment. Like, one of the things here that, to be honest, I missed, like, I didn't miss that failed rallies would be bad. I got that. But the thing that, wasn't crystal clear is that the absurdities that occur in meme coins are fine if the overall market is healthy. But if you have the market engaging in absurdities when the market is cracking, that can be an additional sentiment signal that people could be in denial about what's happening. Now you're like, well, okay, Bill, well, what's happening? All right, well, the market's going down, obviously, but we don't exactly know why. Is it fear of inflation? Is it fear of the Fed? Is it fear of what's going on in Europe? Is it a geopolitical problem? Do we have insolvent trading funds out there? We don't know. And it won't be over until we do. And this goes on day in and day out. So if you see rallies that fail, or you see the market just go down and sit there. So for anybody who's a longtime watcher of the show, if you have the market go down and just sit, that's a component of down markets called the fear of being short. In other words, everyone goes, wow, I can't make a bearish bet here. I can't possibly get short Bitcoin at 64K, only to see it turn and go lower. For you, again, the lesson of this stream, protect mental capital. If you have positions that are driving you nuts, or you think that you're going to puke and sell everything and quit crypto, if this goes on for 2 more months, then please make an adjustment. Make an adjustment on the next rally, make an adjustment, and a dollar cost averaging plan. We'll discuss the levels. Okay. Home foreclosures are on the rise. People cannot pay their bills, right? Like, this has gotten to a point where it feels like everything wants to come unspooled. Sharing screen. Home foreclosures are on the rise. And we do this every stream, right? Credit cards, state of California with 10,000 layoffs off the change in the minimum wage, right? Every day we're moving at warp speed towards something that's going to result in lower rates. Now, what the thing is that results in lower rates appears to be a problem that gets bigger and bigger and bigger all the time, right? I'm like, okay, these things are happening and the Fed's going to see something and then cut rates. It didn't occur to me that the thing that we're seeing, or the thing that we will see that prompts the Fed to cut rates, is bigger than I could imagine. I mean, it's that simple. Okay. Now, let's talk about this word Contagion. Either there's a geopolitical problem with submarines, or the fact that there have been elections in Europe that could substantially change whether or not people want the euro or they want to keep the Eurozone together. Frexit comes to mind, meaning a French exit. Now, these big problems don't manifest themselves overnight, but I have to be honest. When I saw, the first time I saw the word Frexit, which would be the French version of Brexit, where all of a sudden the English people voted to leave the EU. Okay, if these things were a risk and I was an institutional portfolio manager and some analysts came to me and said, this is a risk. And I would be like, great, let's buy the dollar, put it in a 5% treasury bill and buy Tesla and Apple and park our money. That's what I would do if I really was afraid of this. Now, who knows? It's really not pervasive in the media. It's kind of like, ECB came out and said, no, it's not a big deal. Okay, well, we all know what happens when someone comes out and says, it's not a big deal, and the market continues to be down only. That reminds me of Celsius. So there are things out there. When will the down move end? When we know why it's going down. It's as simple as that. Okay. This is the California minimum wage issue. Okay. Sovereigns, let's call them sovereigns. Sovereigns can make mistakes that can make recessions and economic problems even worse. Crypto majors subdued after Fed hawkish stance. Okay. So we have the media now searching for reasons why the market is down. We don't know why the market's down. Hopefully, this is a positive angle. Hopefully, what we're witnessing this morning, June 18th, is some kind of final liquidation selling climax. Because what I don't want to happen is I don't want this to spread to Bitcoin and Ethereum. However, I would rather be long Bitcoin or Ethereum at this point than anything else. Because if the market comes unglued, what happens? We'll go over support and resistance levels, and I'll show you exactly how stretched out the market is. But preserving mental capital and avoiding a rage quit is essential. Now, oops, didn't want to put that up. There's also some concern about the health of chief executive, right? A lot of strange things are happening in terms of, it's being made for whatever reason very public that the individual that's in charge is having a bit of a decline. Again, all of these strange things happening all at once with no clear message as to what they mean. The only thing we can go off is charts. The good news is some things are at support. The bad news is some things aren't. And if it spreads, I want you to just get in the mindset of protecting yourself, one, and two, of the mindset that, crypto does go down. I know this is stupid, but crypto does go down. And there's no thrill in the up unless it goes down first. And there are recipes throughout history in markets where huge, gigantic, unending rallies had to be preceded by people giving up. I assumed people were going to give up on CPI and that would be the end of it. That has not turned out to be the case so far. Okay, so adjusting mental capital. Gold is now the second most popular currency among central banks. I think the most important thing is here, people are ditching the euro. People would rather own gold than the euro. That's disturbing. Since 2019, U.S. rents have grown 1.5 times faster than wages. Again, rate cuts are coming. What event triggers the rate cuts? We don't know yet. BlackRock and Fidelity now own a combined 477,000 Bitcoin. Okay. You know, I think it's a great idea that these guys have bought Bitcoin, but it's beginning to scare me as to the reasons why they did it. Like, it's literally like scaring me. Like, I got 7,000 views on a YouTube short just reading off a basic news article that BlackRock has said we've got to develop additional rails for capital markets. We've got to develop additional rails for capital markets in case the current rails don't work anymore. He was referencing G7 government debt. He's like, government debt is at a point where there could be some kind of major problem, and we want to make sure we can get on the blockchain and access capital markets. Okay, Bloomberg is now on the broader crypto decline. They've got their charts out noting Bitcoin is below the 50-day moving average. Does Bitcoin stay there? Are Bitcoin miners selling? We know whales are selling. Are Bitcoin, like OG whales, are selling? Is there a problem with Bitcoin miners? Are there small Bitcoin miners that have been put out of business by the halving? I love the big Bitcoin miners, but do you have distress somewhere in the system? And I think we also have to start asking ourselves, if this continues, right? If you get a bounce in Bitcoin, great. But if you get any more failed rallies, you're going to start seeing people sell the Bitcoin ETF. Now, I'm not trying to create this like whole doom and gloom scenario, but I am painting a picture that like adjusting positions either now or on the next rally may benefit you if this continues, because we still have no idea why it's happening. We still don't, right? Crypto trends for 2024. Okay, Solana's market shifts. Again, what's the media writing about? It's not writing about why the market is down. It isn't. Okay, XRP and Chainlink stand out. Again, the media looking for something to write about here. And the hyperbole upside targets are back. Bitcoin is on the verge of a major pump. Significant resets in meme coins. Now, let's talk about this. Big meme coins, have they reset or have they broken down? Are big meme coins like Wif the type of things that you buy the dip on, or are they the type of things that you get out of when they start to crack? I think $2 in Wif could be the most relevant level of anything. Seriously, of all the charts, $2 in Wif feels like this huge psychological number. Apple scraps buy now, pay later. There's definitely something out there, right? Now, I bring this up for one simple reason. When we find out what this reason is, and we have to figure, and when we see the central bank response to whatever this is, okay, assuming this crypto decline is not nefarious to embarrass people, but when we see what's really going on here, they're going to have to take Fed funds to 3%. And the most important thing that can happen is that you have capital and sanity. Because this market, the way it exists right now, even if the down market ended today, right now as I'm talking, this is going to mess with people's heads. It is. People are going to think it's over, and nothing is over. The bull market is not over. Just a question of when they're done liquidating everybody and how long that takes. I have some concerns about this impacting Bitcoin. There's a million reasons to be long Bitcoin. There's just a million reasons to be long Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin doesn't start to bounce, or Bitcoin slumps to 61 and again doesn't bounce, like we want to see this bounce go down. A lot of people are willing to buy dips. Okay, that's great. But are people willing to pay higher prices when it turns around and goes up? Like, that will be the key. Like, if you're watching this later, if you're watching this on the 24th of June, right? Has the market gone down, and have people been willing to pay higher prices when it turns around? That is the key. That is the absolute key. All right. So let's, Crypto Crazy is saying that, you know, somebody may be moving this market around to scare everybody. Okay. Malik was about to say Wif at $2. Is it a buy? Well, what I can tell you about Wif is that if it's not a buy at $2, it could go down another 50%. Okay. You know, Routine Cheese says I deployed cash in June of last year. Okay. Now I'm deploying cash now. All right. So this again makes a really great point, and I appreciate this comment. Last year, you got paid to buy and sit, right? In other words, like that summer, like I had to work really hard to find content to do one stream a week. That's how dead the market was last summer. And then you woke up in October and it was off to the races. It was just gone. And if you weren't ready, and truthfully, I was not ready enough. I mean, I knew what I was looking at once it started, but the smart money got long in August and just sat there and waited. Now, in this case, there's always a twist, right? That market was bore you until you thought it was never going to move again. This appears to be something in the opposite direction where there's something out there and we don't know what it is. We don't. Like, nobody can explain to me why after consensus, after all of this extremely bullish news flow and the idea that, as Jay Powell said, payrolls are overstated, why you would not be expecting rate cuts very soon, given the economic news flow about demand destruction. So my point is, last year, they bored you to death. This year, they're going to scare you. Now, is this over? I hope so. I hope so. Okay. But you have to be sane. Even if it ends today, you still have to be sane. You still have to say, okay, if this goes lower or this just sits here for 2 months, then I'm going to move from this to that, right? In other words, I can't develop your plan. I mean, my Patreon does have one-on-one consults for members. It's pinned right at the top. So if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. By the way, this is probably a good time to let you know that this show is actually brought to you by my Patreon. So brought to you as in Patreon users support me. Here is the QR code. The link is down below and in the description. We have like a coaching podcast, and we have all these cool LuxAlgo charts that I try to do, you know, at least 5 days a week. So check out the QR code and check out the Patreon. And if you messed up, become a member, and then one-on-one consults are a separate reasonable fee. I can help you develop a plan. Again, it's not investment advice, but really this is like a psychological game, because you didn't want to dump Amazon in 2002, right? That decline was so bad, nobody would touch Google in 2004. And you don't want to be selling and dumping Apple into a decline right before the iPhone came out or the equivalent. Okay. So Seth said Patreon is worth every penny. I'd like to deliver tons of value there. So please come check that out. Frankly, this is not a world or a market to be in without some level of guidance. Okay, GameStop. So this is now I don't know, it was a hot button issue. It was a non-button issue. You still have to be careful with this thing, right? In other words, a particular chief executive came out and said, I love crypto, and went down only. GameStop came out and said, oh no, you know, there's going to be a huge short squeeze, and then crypto went down only. Who is getting liquidated, and who would get liquidated if GameStop went to 65? This complicated chart shows that 65 is possible, that there could be a final climactic upwave in GameStop, right? And that bottom could occur today, June 18th. We'll see. Okay. GameStop going higher is not crypto constructive. It's not risk asset constructive. I mean, right now, people are hiding in big cap tech stocks, and I don't know if that's going to stop. mean, it should, but like sitting around and going, okay, this should happen. Like everyone's selling crypto and everyone buying big cap tech stocks is really creepy. So, make sure you keep one eye on GameStop. Now, here is the case for this to both continue and end. So this signal on the Bitcoin daily chart means Bitcoin, you should be scared of a failed rally. There was a failed rally. That's a point of concern. If Bitcoin does not turn around within the next 72 hours, you have a major problem that's going to trickle over into Bitcoin, whether it's ETF selling or miner selling. There's still some hope that this thing holds together. Really, support is at 61. Beware the failed rally, or beware the lack of a real bounce. I used to call that the fear of being short. In other words, markets get to a point where bears are like, oh, I don't think I can get short Bitcoin at 64K. Okay, well, that may be true. You may not want to do that, but if it either fails when it rallies or it doesn't bounce, that could bring in short sellers, hedgers, whatever. Some good news. The wick last night could be a bottom in ETH. It could be. Okay. I really don't want to see ETH go any lower. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. You have to be prepared if it does. This thing may give you outstanding prices. If this thing goes on and on and on, I would prefer to see the big coins stabilize right now. Somebody on this stream made fun of me on Friday. I talked about a tactical bounce. By the way, making fun of me is okay. It's fine. But I was talking about a tactical bounce, but that if the rally failed, you were going to have major problems. It's the same thing. I actually, at this point, think lack of a rally is worse, is just as bad as a failed rally, because some of this stuff is getting to a level like this was a 5-wave decline in ETH. It should be over. Solana should have held 142. Okay, well, they blew it out good, and now they're trying to bring it back a little bit. All right. Show me the money, right? In other words, Solana should get fully turned around. If it did, it might be really good. Solana needs to get turned around like now, like today, tomorrow, the day after. You need to see this thing like fully U-turn and people go, darn it, I missed it at 125, but at 150, I love it. That's what you want to see in Solana. Because remember, Solana's a phone company. Solana's going in Apple Pay, right? Right now, Solana is pump.fun and stuff that just the cringe is unbelievable. Solana needs to make that turn. The market needs to say, you know what? It's not this crazy stuff. We want Solana, and I want to see that in 72 hours, or you're going to get lower prices for all of this stuff. Okay, here's an example of both how extreme the market is in terms of where it is on the downside and where it could go if it got more extreme. So currently Avalanche, which again is a layer 1 with security token functionality, which has been down only since May, right? The end of May at consensus, Avalanche is at 37 and it's now at 25. Okay, so Avalanche should have bottomed, didn't. That's what the X means. That's the LuxAlgo 13 bottom. You have this thing falling into kind of like a Bollinger Band zone. Okay, where's the bid? Can't find one. Where's the next support point? 23.59. That's at the bottom of this like extreme oversold zone. And below that, it's 21. So you need to be prepared mentally and say to yourself, if you were long Avalanche, just as an example, Avalanche is at 25. Okay, if Avalanche went 30% lower from where it is right now, could you live with that or would you panic? If you're going to panic and sell everything, if the thing goes 30 to 40% lower, make some kind of an adjustment. Okay, DGen. Okay, a crypto meme coin attached to social media. Okay, down only for some time. should have bottomed 3 days ago, knifes through support, goes through the next support, which I talked about and thought I was crazy to talk about 0.0074. I was like, oh, well, that's a level on the chart. But I was like, in my head, I'm like, God, is it really going to go there? And it went there. And there should be another bottom. There are 2 bottoming signals here. I would love to see a bottom. Love to see a bottom. If you got a bottom, you can reevaluate. But if you get a bottom and it fails, or you don't get a bottom and it just sits there, okay, please make decisions. Because, if Avalanche can go lower, or DGen, if it cracked, we'd have trouble finding support. If you don't know where the bottom is and you don't know why it's going lower, mental capital matters. Hopefully, this is over today. Solana, 136 is a key level. 126 is another key level. You got there overnight on the 18th of June. I think it's very important that these 2 levels hold. I do not want to see Solana below 126, because that means, like pump.fun is going to get purged at Solana's expense, which, you could get Solana at 110 or 100. Those are like the 2 levels underneath 126. Now, if you got Solana at 100, you would probably have distress in this market to such a degree that it probably would be over and the catalyst for the selling would be known. Okay, ETH, I have 3263 and 3100. Again, if you look at ETH on this construct, ETH just failed like 2 days ago. Like the ETH trade just started on the downside. If you look at this construct, the DeMark work, it's like, okay, this should end. If it doesn't end, it's because of this. It's because, the levels where it wants to get to are like 3,200. That's insane. This thing is like the ETF news came out and it's down only, and Gensler is going to push it out until September. This could be Gensler's last act, where he just like pushes the bullish events in crypto out as far as possible to allow this event to unfold. Okay, here's Wif. We'll go to live TA in a minute, right? $2, man. This should bottom. There's bottoming signals here. This thing rejected resistance at 240 and went straight down. And bigger picture, there's a triangle in Wif, and triangles normally do not resolve well. They normally resolve on the downside. There should have been a bottom up here at 280. And I got news for you, folks. Wif is at an area where you would expect a bid, but if there's no bid at 2, it could wind up down here at the lower end of this LuxAlgo equivalent Bollinger Band. Okay, and that is the market update. Okay, let's see what we got going on in the chat. Let's check the market. So you have a decent bounce going on right now. That's good. Okay, let's just go to Bitcoin. So we can literally like watch this real time. This is one of the benefits of this new stream time. Okay, so looking at the Williams oscillator, we do have some signals here that a big move could be coming. Hopefully that was the end of the big move, meaning the big move was down. Bitcoin got to a huge support zone around 64, 65K. Hopefully that's the end. If you get a rally in Bitcoin here and that rally fails, then you got a major problem. If Bitcoin holds, then maybe we just it just exhausted itself. Okay. Solana, pretty good support at 136. Very encouraging. Let me put 136 here. Okay. In other words, right now, Solana looks very good. Let's see what ETH is doing. Okay. I wish I had something better to say about ETH, but again, the DeMark Elliott wave work, it doesn't necessarily look terrible. And again, when I look at the macro, I just wanted to put this up there. This is the S&P, right? So this is the 4-hour chart of S&P. The resistance level is 5,551. How much longer can this thing go before, you have to start asking yourself, can this continue? In other words, either crypto's got to go up or this has to go down. That's kind of how I'm looking at it, right? I wanted to go through this altcoin as an example. So this is Rose, right? Now, Rose on a 4-hour chart, this was kind of like a part of a BlackRock rumor mill, right? And Rose went straight up all through June. Straight up, right? And then all of a sudden, Rose started to break down. And these pink bars are basically support that have now flipped to resistance. So if Rose comes screaming back and the BlackRock effect is back, people will be willing to pay higher prices and you will start breaking these resistance levels. Uniswap is something similar. Now, the good news is the sell signal in Uniswap was up here, and the support point was 940. So if you missed the rally in Uniswap, this could be an opportunity to get in, assuming that's what you're inclined to do. If you're long Uniswap, you definitely want to see this thing hold $9.40 so you can either reevaluate or just be like, well, maybe that was a flush and we're done. That's all, right? But again, this may be the time to adjust positions. Like, for example, I don't know. Like, I think I know somebody out there, Steve, who might say, all right, I'm going to get rid of some coin that I don't like, right? And I'm going to get me some Uniswap below $10, right? Like sector rotation, asset allocation, sanity rotation, taking tax losses, moving over to Solana maybe. It's not investment advice. It's sanity advice. Or you can wait to see if there's a rally. If you know that the next failed rally could be a problem, or lack of any rally could be a problem, it will allow you to make adjustments, right? Because if there is no rally from here, like in other words, if you can't say, all right, yeah, Uniswap below 10, give me that, or Rose or Ondo, let's get Ondo up here, right? If you can't say, oh yeah, I'm coming in after this thing, right? So Ondo got the support at 107. That's good. But there is resistance like right here. So again, people have to be willing to pay higher prices. If they are, oh, wonderful. There was every buy signal in the world down here in Ondo. But you better see people like want this like right now. Like right now. Okay. All right. Renee says, Bill, I haven't heard you this bearish before. Just chill. It will pass. Okay, so believe it or not, I'm not bearish. In other words, I don't think the bull market is over. The theme of the live stream is it over? It's not over. Nothing is over. But what I don't want to happen is I don't want you to get wrecked if this is not over. It should end today. It's just so stupid. Like, let's talk about stupid. Like, near, really near at $4.38. So let's take our friend Renee's advice and shift the energy. Now, how could near not be a bottom at $4.30? How could it not be? It better be, because you know what? According to this system, near was a buy at 694, 650, 589, 539. You know what I'm saying? Like, near should bottom. And all I'm trying to tell you is if it doesn't, then you make adjustments. That's all. Because I want you to be here. I want you to be here if it falls apart. Okay. Somebody says, Farmer Sam Forrest says summer shakeout. Yeah, man. They did it last year. Okay, Malik wanted me to take a look at TIA. Yeah, and I appreciate that person for correcting me, right? It's not over. It's not. It's not over. The bull market is not over. What I don't want to be over is your sanity. Okay, so in TIA, I'm showing good support at 647. There should be a rally from here. There should be. If there isn't, make adjustments. And again, you know, if you're in some meme coin and it hasn't worked out, this thing's gone from 12 to 6 in 2 weeks. It is really hard. Like, it is easy to get bullish some of these bigger cap altcoins. Let's do it that way. It's easier to get bullish at these levels, right? Because it should go up. Now, if it doesn't, then you make an adjustment. But there is a much more like OM. Oh my God. Like this, like I'm almost like, if this is not a buy at 64 cents, like somebody, most likely BlackRock, is tokenizing assets and borrowing stable coins on OM. The solid support level is 64 cents. This was over $1 7 days ago. Like, this thing should go straight up. Can we do it that way? Okay. This thing should go straight up. It should. And I'm waiting. Like, here's Bitcoin Cash. I was looking at this right before I went on the air. So this could be the next ETF. And I'm really interested in this because it's money. If you don't think we need crypto as money, you're crazy. 377. Like, if you want to take a shot, take a shot. Okay. Litecoin does not look as good. Litecoin had support at 72. But again, the extent to which this is stretched out is profound. Okay. Like Render. Okay. Render has a bottoming signal with support at 645. Now, the thing about Render is, and this is a good case point, Render should want to get above $7.12. If it does, cool. If it doesn't, people aren't willing to pay higher prices. And you want to see that. I want to see Bitcoin out of red territory. Now, again, just staying focused on macro, like the dollar is lower. The dollar continues to look, I don't know. It doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look good either. Like, what is driving crypto lower? Like, what is doing it? Particularly if you look at all of these real world asset plays, you know, like I think it was Velodrome. Like, yeah, okay. So here's another good example. So there's apparently somebody in the political arena that disclosed the position in this. Okay, there was a pump off that. Now it's returned to support around 10 cents. You know what they say? It's not a bull market until you can buy a dip and make money. So if this thing has in fact turned around, who knows? This could turn the whole market around. I want to see people buy it. I want to see people buy the dip in Velo. I want to see people willing to pay higher prices in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Okay. So let's summarize what I've told you so far. There are juicy buy levels below the market in Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum. If the market got to those levels, would you be prepared to buy or would you be panicking and selling? These are things that you have to ask yourself, right? So rather than get all wound up, and again, I appreciate that person who helped me course correct. Rather than get all wound up about what could happen, let's just manage what is happening inside your head. Because there are a lot of reasons for a rate cut. There are a lot of reasons to expect some sort of event here. Crypto is being a canary in the coal mine. Something is wrong and we don't know what it is. And the last thing I would ever want for anybody in Patreon, Twitter, YouTube, anybody who I support and supports me, the last thing I would ever want is for you to get chewed up. Really. So if you need to make a portfolio adjustment, make it. If you want to make a portfolio adjustment by adding risk and saying, okay, if it goes up, it's awesome. And if it's not, I'm going to put a stop in. Your trading plan can only be created by you, but the end result of your trading plan needs to be preservation of mental capital over the summer. Because last year, the summer waited you out, forced you out, bored you out. They could do something similar this summer beyond just the tactical reality that we're witnessing now. A bounce would be nice. A bounce would be great. But is this like the immediate return of the bull market when we don't know why it's down? I don't know. And I don't know is one of the worst things that you can have in markets. Known catalysts, like by the time FTX was fully known, even though Bitcoin didn't necessarily recover immediately, when you knew what it was about, it was over. It took a while to base, but we need to know what this is all about. So that's it for today. I hope it helps. Leave a comment down below. We'll see you tomorrow.